So in this video, we will look into configuring Backstage application with its plugins. So the intended audience for this tutorial is the developers working on Backstage. So Backstage plugins are primarily written using TypeScript, Node.js, and React. So having an understanding of these technologies will be beneficial on your journey towards customizing Backstage. So Backstage plugins customize the app for your needs. So there is a plugin directory with plugins for most common infrastructure needs, such as CI/CD monitoring, auditing, and more. So adding existing plugins to your app is one of the most basic things to do in uh, your journey towards customizing Backstage applications. So, so I will explain the steps uh, to do that. So we'll assume that you have created a Backstage application and want to add an existing plugin to it. So you can find many wonderful plugins out there in the Backstage marketplace. For example, so through the community plugins repository, you can find many Backstage plugin directories. So adding plugins to your Backstage app is generally a simple process. And ideally, each plugin will come with its own set of documentation on how to install and configure it. So in this example, we will add the Tech Radar plugin to our Backstage app. So, so in order to add the plugin, you'll use the plugin decorator. So let's go inside our Backstage application and add the plugins npm package to the repository like this. Yarn. So packages app, add Backstage community, slash plugin decorator. So note the plugin is added to the app package rather than to the root package.json. So inside the package.json, it won't be added, but it will be added to the app package.json. So Backstage apps are set up as monorepos with Yarn workspaces. The front-end UI plugins are generally added to the app folder, so while backend plugins are added to the backend folder. So in this example above, here we can see the package JSON. The new plugin has been added to the package JSON of the app directory. So in the example, you can see it here. Now, in order to use this, we will have to modify our app.tsx file. So let's go to app.tsx and let's import the TechRadar plugin. Let's go to the bottom of the import list. Let's import TechRadar page from the newly added Backstage community plugin TechRadar. And inside the routes configuration, we can add one more item over here. So we will add a route. So the path will be TechRadar, and the element is going to be the one that we imported just now, TechRadar page. So this is going to need two parameters, which is width is 1500 and let's use height as 800 and close the tag. And that's it. We have one sec. We have to close this as well, route tag. And that's it. We have added the TechRadar route. So this is just one example, and if you'd like to continue adding the Tech Radar plugin or any other plugins, you can do so by going to the respective plugin and installing it. Keep in mind, each Backstage instance may integrate content or cards to suit their needs on different pages, tabs, etc. So in addition, while some plugins such as this example tag reader are designed to be used in a standalone fashion, others may be intended to be to annotate or support specific software catalog entities and would be added elsewhere in the app. So adding a plugin page to the sidebar is something that we will see next. In a standard Backstage app created with Backstage Create app, the sidebar is managed inside the packages app source and inside this components and the root.tsx inside the root directory here. So all the sidebar related activities and components will be used here. The file exports the entire sidebar element of your app, so which you can extend with additional entities or entries by adding new sidebar items. For example, if you want to install the API docs plugin, a matching sidebar item could be something like this. That'll be something like this. Sidebar item we can add. So you can also use your own SVGs directly as icon elements. Just make sure they are sized according to the Material UI standards, SVG icon standards, default of 24 pixels by 24 pixels, and set the extension to icon.svg, for example. So, for example, if you want to import a custom icon, you can do so with this syntax: import internal tool icon from, say, internal tool icon.svg, something like this. So on mobile devices, the sidebar is displayed at the bottom of the screen. To customize the experience, you can group sidebar items in a sidebar group. So just like this, sidebar group, or create a sidebar group with a link in it. All sidebar groups are displayed in the bottom navigation with an icon. So if no sidebar group is provided, a default menu will display the sidebar content. So let's look into customizing the look and feel of this application. So before that, let's start the server and see how this looks. So this will take some time to start. Let's look at the front end. Once the server is started, we will be able to load the page. By default, it opens the page as soon as the server starts. The compilation process and everything should complete before we can see the UI. So let's wait for that. So if you go to the home page, this is how it looks like. Let's go see Tech Radar. All right, we have the plugin installed, and we can see the Tech Radar. That's good. So now let's go into customizing this user interface, the look and feel of your application. Let's go back to our source code. Let's close this one, stop the server, and let's edit and then restart. So Backstage ships with the default theme with a light and dark mode variant. So if you want to observe how that looks, we can see that. So let's go back to the front end. And if we go to the go to home page, or if you go to settings, you can actually see the appearance themes. There is a light theme and there is a dark theme. And this is all, these themes are provided by the Backstage themes package, which also includes utilities for customizing the default theme or creating completely new themes. So let's go into look into how to customize a theme. So let's go back to our source code. So inside here, so the easiest way to create a new theme is to use the create unified theme function from the exported from the Backstage theme package. You can use it to override some basic parameters of the default theme, such as the color palette and fonts. For example, you can create a new theme based on the default light color theme like this. So inside packages, let's go inside app source and let's create a new folder called theme, and we'll create my theme here. So we recommend creating a theme folder in packages app source to place your theme files to keep this nicely organized. So let's add our theme code. So basically we would need to import a few things here, which is create base theme options. These are all coming from Backstage theme package. So create unified theme is another utility function that we need, and palettes is also needed. So these are all coming from Backstage theme package. We will use these to create a custom theme. So let's export a new theme from here, my theme, and we will use create unified theme function. And for this, we need to pass an object. So this object will have first argument that is created from create base theme options. And this for this, we need to pass in the palette. This is the color palette. We will use the light color theme, light color palette. And then we can define the global font family. So for this, I'm going to use Comics Sans Miss, and default page theme, I'm going to use homepage. So it can also create a theme from scratch that matches the, if that matches the Backstage theme type exported by the Backstage theme. So see the Material UI docs for theming for more information about how to create these themes and all. And let's go see how the UI looks now with the new. Before we can see the changes, we actually need to use this theme, using this custom theme in our application. To add this custom theme to your Backstage app, you have to pass it as configuration to create app. Okay. Okay. For example, adding the theme that we created in this previous section can be done in this way. So let's go to app.tsx from package app source, and we need to import that unified theme provider. So we need a few things here. So first thing is let's just change the code and then import the respective packages from wherever we want. So this create app is what we are interested in. So we have the APIs and this, there may be components and plugins. From here at the end, let's add themes also. So these are the themes available. So by default, the themes will be coming from the themes package. So this one is going to have a themes entity at the end. So we will have themes defined here. So inside this, the theme ID, I'm going to use my theme, and title, I'm going to use my custom theme. Let's say variant as light. Icon, I'm going to use light icon. And this may be imported. And we need the provider to be the callback function. So that returns unified theme provider. Let's say theme as my theme, children as children. So this my theme has to be imported. Let's go to the top, import my theme from themes theme. I think we need to rename this to themes. All right. So, so note that your list of custom themes overrides the default themes here. Let's import light icon also. Import light icon from material UI. All right. So, so note that your list of custom themes here overrides the default themes. If you still want to use the default themes, they are exported as themes.light and themes.dark from Backstage theme package. Let's go to the UI and see difference. And let's see what's happening here. Let's reload, and we can see this themes have changed. The icons, sorry, the fonts have changed to Comic Sans. We can see the settings here. So if at all we want to add up into the existing themes, default themes, let's just change that in the code. If we go here, we can actually expand this list as like this. Theme dot themes dot light. and then themes dot dark. And these themes need to be imported from Backstage. Import themes from Backstage theme. It's already imported. Let's use that itself. Let's visit this later. For now, this should be enough for us. So that's how we have changed this theme. So we can also create custom themes. So we just expanded the current theme right now, light theme. So we can also extend these themes, base theme options. We can even customize this theme options more in depth. So let's do that now. So for that, we would need a get theme gen page themes is another utility that we can use to create custom themes. Let's do that. So inside of here, we have create base theme options. We can use the existing palette and extend from there. So what we are going to do here is define and extend this. So apart from this, we will have extra options, primary color as this color, and we will have secondary option as this, and error as this, and warning color as this. Info is going to be this. Success theme is going to be this. And so the background, so default option is going to be this. And paper color is going to be this. And apart from that, there will be banners. Banner info is going to be this. Header banner is going to have this. Text is going to have this. And links going to have this. Right. So that's about this banner, and we will have header background as this. Warning background, similarly, it's going to have this color. Info background is going to have this. And then let's come to navigation. And these options you can refer to the Backstage theme package documentation if you want to. So the background is going to have this color. And indicator is going to have this color. Color, foreground color is going to have this. And selected color is going to be one. So that's about these palette options. Then we have the font family and default page theme. And then we can customize the page theme also. Different pages will have different themes in this case. So let's have home page and generate a new page theme with two options. Colors is the first option, and that will have two colors. And the shape is going to be shapes.wave. The shapes need to be imported from the themes package. Let's do that. And that's about the home page. And then we have a documentation page. Similar to the previous one, we will have the same. So except that it will have a different shape, which is wave 2. And then we'll have tool page. This will have almost the same options except the shape, which is going to be round with this. And we'll have another thing called service, which has the same, but this time it's wave shape. And we have website. If you want to customize different shapes and different colors, we can do so. Website also has the same options. We can have another entity called library, same options. We can make it different also. That's no problem. So for other entities, Same options, and we need for app. I'm going to use the same options for app as well. And the last one is APIs. But this also I'm going to use the same options. You can customize it for different pages differently. That's up to you. For a more complete example of a custom theme, including Backstage and Material UI components overrides, you can check out the Aperture theme from the Backstage demo site. Let's take a look at the UI for proceeding. And there we have it. So it's all customized. The color palette, fonts, everything is customized. Nice. Okay. So apart from this, we can also have custom typography. So when creating a custom theme, you can also have customize various aspects of the default typography. Here is an example how to do that with simple theme. So let's go back to our code. So inside this theme, we can have typography customized. So after palettes, let's have typography. Inside this theme, we're going to have typography with various options. HTML font size is going to be 16 by default. Font family, you can define a different font family. And we will also need to expand H1 font size. Is going to be 54 for this. Font weight, I'm going to use 700. Margin bottom, I'm going to use 10. Likewise, we can extend this to H2, H3, and so on. H2 is going to have 40, and margin bottom is 8. So let's say H3. We will customize this to get it as the font size, and margin I'll use 6. Similarly, H4, H5, and H6 can be done. H4, I'm going to use nothing, just the font size and margin. So H5 is going to be almost, it's 28. H4 is going to be 28. And I'm going to use 6 here. H5, I'm going to use 24 and 4. H6, I'm going to use 20 as the font size. And margin as 2. That's all about that. Let's go back to the user interface and see the font and typography has changed. Yeah, it did. The typography has changed. So if you wanted to only override a subset of typography settings, for example, just H1, then you can do this. Let's go back to our code. So instead of overriding all things, you can just expand this with default typography. So which is going to come from the theme package. Again, import this from here. And let's change this to Roboto. And we can comment out the rest. Only the H1 we want to override here in this case. Let's go back and see the user interface. All right, that's about it. So even custom fonts we can use inside the each individual element. To add custom fonts, you first need to store these fonts so that it can be imported. So we suggest creating the assets fonts directory in your front-end application source folder. Let's do that. So if we go here, source, we are going to use create a folder called assets and then fonts. Let's say we will install or add these WIFF files here. And in order to use these fonts, people have to just use, you can declare the font style following the font face syntax from material UI typography. After that, you can then utilize these style overrides of MUI CSS baseline under components to add a font to the font face array. So let's do that here in my themes. So let's do import that new font if assuming that there is a custom font installed under assets fonts. My custom font, let's import, and from the assets fonts, and this is going to be the font file name. This is just an example. We'll comment out this part there, and we have to define a constant with the font name and with all the font properties here. So font family is going to be my custom font. Font style is normal. Font display swap. Font weight 300. And source is going to be the text that says local my custom font, and which also has the URL of this my custom font. Format is going to be WIF2, and then we can actually add this font family over here. Create unified theme, and then we have fonts family here. So I'm just going to comment out this and add a new line here with the name of the font, my custom font. And then we have the palette over here, all that. And then we will define components. Which will have MUI CSS baseline. Inside that, we will declare style overrides. So it's going to have font face as the array, my custom font, and there can be multiple fonts also, multiple custom fonts. If you want to utilize different or multiple fonts, then you can set the top level font family to whatever you want for your body, and then override font family and the typography to control fonts for various headings. So, for example, you can have another font defined, something like my awesome font, and use a similar process to declare this as well. And inside the theme, we can define the global font as custom font, and inside H1, we can have, let's say this one is my custom font, and inside of here, we can declare another font family only for H1 elements, which is going to be my awesome font. So that's how we use multiple fonts. And if you want to customize material UI components styles or Backstage component styles, you can do it with this approach. Let's say we can have a const with styles declared, and we can make styles with Backstage theme as the and accept a theme here with a return value with header as something like this, and theme we can use from Backstage default themes. We can define like something like this, and background image, and give it a name. Like this. Notice how the padding is getting its value from theme.spacing here. That means that setting a value for spacing in your custom theme would affect this component padding property. And the same goes for background image, which uses the theme.page.background image. However, the box shadow property does not reference any value from the theme. So that means that creating a custom theme wouldn't be enough to alter the box shadow property or to add the CSS rules that aren't already defined like a margin. For these cases, you should also create an override. So here is how you could do that. So inside the my theme, we can actually have this components added to this. Let's have some style overrides. And let's add Backstage header as the component, which has style overrides. So this is going to have header that has a callback function, theme as the argument, and returns it as something. Margin, say 20 pixels, box shadow, none, and then border 4 pixels solid, and the color from 15. So this is how we can define a custom component here. Backstage header, we don't need this anymore. And let's comment out these portions as well. We don't need this. We've seen how to use these custom fonts. We'll just revert back to the old approach. There, this we don't need. And this we can comment out here. And we can also comment out the inputs. This one as well. These two. Okay, how about changing the logo of the Backstage application? So in addition to custom themes, you can also customize this logo displayed at the far top left of the slide. So in your front-end application, locate the source, components, root, and logo full.tsx and logo icon.tsx. So logo full.tsx is a larger logo used when the sidebar navigation is opened, and logo icon is the smaller logo used when the sidebar navigation is closed. To replace these images, you can simply replace the relevant code in these components with raw SVG, just like this. In this place, we can change that. Or you can also use another web image format such as PNG by importing it. To do that, place your new image into a new subdirectory such as source components group, and then let's create a folder called logo, and we can have one image inside it. Let's say my company logo.png, and then override this logo full with this code. So let's do some import here. Basically, this is not quite. We can import this here. So if we have a custom image, my custom logo full from, let's say, logo current logo directory, and then my company logo. Let's say if this is a PNG file, you'll import it as PNG, and then you override this logo full to have code like this that will return this image tag. Source attribute defined as my custom logo full. And that's about it. So similarly, icons also, you can do that same thing. So let's comment out this portion as we don't have that custom logo. So far you have seen how to create your own theme and add your own logo. So in the following section, we'll be showing you how to override the existing icons and how to add more icons. So you can also customize the project's default icons. You can change the icons like this. So we will need files in .svg format, and React components need to be created for these icons. So let's create a new component in the assets icons. Let's create a new folder called icons. So inside of here, let's add a new custom icon.tsx. So let's import svg svg icon props from material UI. We can export a new icon like this that accepts properties svg icon props and returns svg icon with some props. Say VBox. These are all standard svg. So it should be 24 by 24 pixels width and height. So path we can define as this. It will have a fill color and width property. And the dimensions can be something that defines your SVG, so on, and like this. So using this custom icon, you can go to app.tsx and import this custom icon. Let's do import. Example icon, just the name of the icon from custom icons. And you can use this example icon anywhere inside the create app. Let's go to the bottom. After themes, let's use the icons over here. And we can give a name, let's say GitHub. We can use the icon, this name. So adding these icons, you can add more icons if the default icons do not fit your needs, so that they can be used in other places like for links in your entities. For this example, we'll be using icons from Material UI because we don't have a real icon, the custom icon. So we'll be using the alarm icon. Here is how to do that. First, you will want to open app.tsx, which we already opened, and then you want to import this icon, and this is to the rest of your imports. Add this to the rest of your imports. So instead of example icon, I'm going to use alarm icon from Material UI instead of this custom location. So Material UI icons alarm. So this alarm icon we're going to use inside the icons over here. Let's say alert and alarm icon I'm going to use. So in this place, you can use your custom icon also. Now we can reference this alert for our icon in our entity links like this. Let's go to our entities, create another entity with the component interface, copy this, and go to the bottom of the file and define one more entity with the name as artist lookup, and then I'll do a description artist lookup, and I'm going to specify the links. Links is going to have URL property. Just give an example.com alert and title let's icon alert. So this alert icon is going to be fetched from your app definitions icons alert. So by default, this component will be displayed with that icon. So if you go see the UI, let's comment out this portion where it's causing issue. I think we need to restart the server. We can do Control C in the console and then do yarn start again. That will start the server. Okay, there is some mistake I have done. I forgot to comment out the portion where this custom fonts is being used. Let's just comment out this part. And let's go back to the browser. Let's just fix a little bit. So let's go back to the code. Let's see what's wrong with the icon. So alarm icon is not defined. Material UI. So import alarm icon from material UI icons alarm. This is correct. What's this? Let's check the alarm icon with the documentation. Okay, it's exported as a default export. Let's import this alarm icon with default syntax. So like this. So let's stop and restart. And let's go back to the browser. Okay, the import is wrong. Let's correct that. So material, this is going to be material UI, at the rate material UI slash icons slash log. Okay, that's good. Let's go back to the browser, reload, and we're good to go. So we can see artist lookup, the links are going to have the alarm icon. Let's go back. You can see here links are having alarm icons. All right. So another way you can use these icons is from the app context. Let's see how to use that. So let's say if you have use app imported, let's say something similar to this, import use app from Backstage core within API. And if you have an application defined like this, you can also have alert icon declared like this, get system icon of alert. By name also you can get this icons. So let's comment out this part for now. So you might want to use this method if you have an icon you want to use in this in several locations. So if the icon is not available as one of the default icons or one you have added them, then it'll fall back to material UI language icon. So next step is to we have done theme customization, and next step is to customize the sidebar. So as you have seen, there are many ways that you can customize your Backstage app. The following things will show you how to customize the sidebar. So, so we can have a sidebar submenu added. For this example, let's say we'll show you how you can expand the sidebar with a submenu. So right now we have only one level menu items. So we will add submenus to the home menu. Let's go to packages, app, source, components, and root. Let's go to the root.tsx and let's add an import with use app. So I think use app is already imported. No. Let's import the use app from Backstage core plugin API. So then update the Backstage core components here with an extra import like this. So this is going to be sidebar submenu is one item we'll use, and then sidebar submenu item is another thing that we will be using. So finally, replace the sidebar item. Yes, there is catalog here. Let's replace this with something more intuitive. So let's add another item, sidebar item. Sorry, this is, yeah, icon should be um, icon, and then it points to the catalog, and text is home. Everything else stays same except that we are going to have nested elements in it. So inside this, we will have a sidebar submenu. So the title is still catalog. Inside this, we will have submenu items, sidebar, submenu item. So each of this will have its own title. Let's say this thing has domains in it, and it points to a catalog, and with a query, filters as kind equals domain, and then icon we are going to use app dot get system icon with a name kind as domain, like this. And this will add one submenu item. So we will add more submenu items. So one for systems, the kind is system for the filter, and icon also is going to be system. And let's add one more for components. This will be component, and icon also component. And this will have another submenu item, APIs. So this is going to be API, and this is going to be API. And we will add one divider here, sidebar divider. Then we will add more sidebar submenu items. So this is resources, and another one we use groups. And icon also is going to be a group. And the last one is users. We'll filter by user and then use the icon user. And that's it. Let's go and check the user interface. So if you go to the home, we have different submenu items with different icons. So when you start up your Backstage app and hover over this home page, home option on the sidebar, you'll see this nice submenu appear with links to the various kinds in your catalog. So I can see more ways to use this in the storybook examples in the documentation. So in addition to custom themes, a custom logo, you can also customize the homepage of your app. So that we will be seeing in our next video.